It's official. Attorney and North Charleston resident Gordon Garrett is running for North Charleston City Council's District 8 seat. I speak exclusively with Gordon for the special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and download my free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Gordon Garrett, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Obviously, you are running for North Charleston City Council's District 8. And I want to go back to your postcard that you're sending out to a lot of people. You said this quote, "I'm so excited to announce my candidacy for the upcoming 2019 City Council race. This year could not be more important as we look forward to the future of our growing city." How's the city of North Charleston is growing in your mind?
The city of North Charleston is growing at, I think, something like 8% per year, which is an extraordinary amount of growth. People are coming from all over the United States to move here. It's an important year because in 2020, North Charleston's going to make its next 10-year comprehensive plan. And this plan's going to take us from 2020 to 2030. And I think it's important that we have somebody as a city councilman who's going to advocate and fight for what the 8th District needs over the next 10 years.
If you could add something to the comprehensive plan update right now, what would it be for District 8?
One of the biggest complaints that I hear going around to neighborhood meetings is the amount of petty crime caused by children and teenagers, mostly in the form of car break-ins, petty thievery. The city's done a wonderful job constructing this $14 million gym on the other side of Rivers Avenue and I-26. And I applaud that effort, and I hope that there's a lot of children that go over there and participate in these programs. I think what's equally as important is these community centers, which we already own the land for,
Sure.
which we could rehabilitate for a lot less than several $1,000,000. And we could have these as places where our teenage members of our community can go and hang out at night, be supervised by a neighborhood resource officer. And I think putting more attention and finances into these local community centers would give a real big impact on our local crime.
When you drive around District 8, what else are you seeing as far as crimes?
We have our share of violent crime. It is not a disproportionate amount, particularly when you consider the fact that North Charleston is the central city in the Tri-County area, and there are so many people coming into and out of the city of North Charleston. The only way that we can prevent that type of crime is through more police presence. But this local crime, dealing with our own children, these are things that we can address as a society. And if we can stop kids from engaging in small crimes like opening a car door, then maybe we can keep them from other crimes like selling drugs or moving on to more violent crime. And that needs to be done in every district in North Charleston and every district in the Tri-County area.
And you talk about that. Let me go back to August 24th. You posted this on your Facebook page regarding the recent mail debate. You said this quote, "Most people feel the police department is moving in the right direction following the Walter Scott shooting." What is the biggest difference between 2015 and now in your mind when it comes to the North Charleston Police Department?
We've had a change in leadership with Reggie Burgess, but we've also had a change in the relationship between citizens and police officers. You know, unfortunately, if you talk to a lot of police officers, they feel that their actions are continuously being audited and that we look more at what the police are doing rather than what they're doing to protect the citizens. You know, it's going to take years to rebuild trust, to rebuild the community relations, and I think that the city is moving in a good direction. And I wouldn't make any changes at the police department, but that doesn't mean that we can't make efforts outside of the police department in terms of our community resources, in terms of the programs that we offer to help out Chief Burgess.
And you also said this too. The Russell affordable housing zoning denial bothered a lot of people. The city needs a better response than deferring existing zoning laws when it denies an affordable housing project. How did it bother you?
If you look at the actual Russelldale project, there are reasons, and very valid reasons, why it got denied. However, we need a greater plan. The entire city needs a plan that, in the 8th district, for example, we have a number of trailer parks. If you look at the comprehensive plan for the City of North Charleston, they say we're just going to tear these trailer parks down and see what gets built next. And there's very little zoning regulation to control what is put in the place of these mobile home parks when they're torn down. As part of the 2020 to 2030 comprehensive plan, I think that we need a larger zoning, a more modern zoning approach, something that protects the historic homes in Park Circle, something that stops the demolition of properties across the entire 8th district. These homes that are in the 8th district will not be replaced. And I think if we're going to preserve the nature of Park Circle and the 8th district, we need to look at the properties that we have here and do whatever we can to keep them here.
Now, how many trailer parks are you talking about in your mind when it comes to District 8?
A lot of the trailer parks are in Charleston Farms right now.
Okay.
And it's very important that the people who live in these trailer parks are not put out of their neighborhood. A lot of these residents grew up there. The city already has a program that encourages the creation of affordable housing anytime that you build a large multifamily housing development. I think the city can go further. I think it can encourage, through the use of 4 and 5 and 6% tax ratios, a system that allows a landlord to build high quality housing. It doesn't have to pay investment style taxes and can still have a high quality property that they can lease out for under $1,000 a month.
And if a developer were to come into District 8, what incentives do you want from them?
You need to put the landlord in a position that if you're going to rent property here, it's going to be high quality property. We're not going to allow you to do business in North Charleston by renting out slum quality homes to people. The roofs need to be in shape. The siding needs to be in shape. The properties need to be maintained on a regular basis. But that raises rent rates. And so you've got to find a way to go to the landlord and say, we want you to provide this. And he's going to say, well, what's my economic incentive? The difference between a 4% tax rate and a 6% tax rate can be thousands of dollars. We can find a medium ground with landlords, and particularly landlords that want to provide high quality housing, and find some way to reward them financially, as well as all of the other federal funding, federal programs that reward landlords in these situations for providing affordable housing.
What are those federal programs now?
Well, Marvin Pendarvis has been working on a bill in the state legislature. There is a definition in the federal code of what affordable housing is. And when you meet that criteria, you are participating in the federal affordable housing program. Marvin Pendarvis's bill would say that if you're qualified federally, then you can now apply for certain state benefits.
Okay.
We can use that same structure and say if you're following the same federal guidelines for affordable housing, then the city will also meet you there and make this a more appetizing investment for property developers.
You also said this too. North Charleston is swimming in guns. Dixon says Dixon, meaning Pastor Thomas Dixon, says it's a higher firearm death rate than Chicago. Neither the mayor nor anyone else knows where the guns are coming from. No discussion about drug laws or the red flag laws. Where are you with red flag laws?
Red flag laws are going to help with people who have mental problems. Like this young lady who went to Ashley Hall with a loaded pistol. If you or your family member thinks that you're at risk of shooting somebody or hurting somebody, then I fully advocate being able to pick up the phone and call the police and say, I believe my loved one is a danger to other people. I mean, that's a very reasonable thing to ask for. So I would support the state legislature in passing these types of laws.
And let me get back over to the mail debate, because you said this too. The city claims that it is helpless when it comes to dealing with the South Carolina Department of Transportation and South Carolina Public Railways regarding trains and traffic. How's that in District 8?
As this new rail yard is built, there's going to be a much larger volume of rail traffic coming through the 8th District, coming through all the districts in North Charleston, nearly all of them. The city has an agreement that the public railways would provide overpasses or underpasses over many of these new rail lines, and they're not being built. I'm not privy to what agreement the city made with the public railways. I am a lawyer, though, and I've gone to federal court.
Sure.
And I know that if the city has a valid binding contract for these overpasses to be built, then we go to federal court and we ask a federal judge, why is the railway being allowed to continue to build this railway and not build our overpasses for us? And if we don't have a valid agreement, then the city needs to come out and say, we have no way to prevent these rail lines from being built.
What else are you looking at when you look at this from a lawyer's standpoint?
It's carrot and the stick. Nobody wants to go to court. It's a lot smarter to get people up in Columbia and talking to legislatures. It's a lot better to send police officers, to send city officials, to send them up to speak to some of these panels and committees and let them understand what the issues are. There are committees about the public railways happening in Columbia, and going up there and saying, state representatives, this is destroying the ability of our people to get to work, and we value this rail line, but these are the people that we need to be talking to. We don't need to be standing out on railway tracks shaking our fists. We need to be doing things that are getting results, and direct lobbying is the carrot. And if we have an agreement that we can enforce in court, that's the stick.
That's the stick. You also said this too. If the city can afford to cover the losses of a corporate grocery store in Shipyard Square, then the city needs to make 2008 Success Street available to Jermaine Jenkins so she can grow her garden. Where are we with that discussion?
I don't advocate the city paying for the cost of a grocery store. That's fixing a symptom rather than fixing the cause of why there's no grocery store in the south part of the city. There has been a plan put forth to completely renovate this hospital area, to change the zoning down there, to create a transportation hub down there. Those are the huge steps that need to be taken that in 5 or 10 years' time is going to encourage grocery stores to be built down there. At the same time, we've got a number of people here who aren't associated with grocery stores like Jermaine Jenkins that are doing amazing things with local food and growing food in our neighborhoods, which is far superior to any grocery store. And I would support them. And if they need land to grow food for other people on, I can't think of a better use of public land than that, frankly.
You talk about the corporate grocery stores. What is the future of that in North Charleston?
Well, I don't know if grocery stores have a terribly bright future the way that they were in the 80s and 90s. Amazon, food delivery, Blue Apron, all of these are changing the way that we shop for food. There may be no bigger factor than this Walmart Superfood Center, which has a huge economic effect on other corporate grocery stores. At the end of the day, this is a free market society, and we can't tell a grocery store where they're going to or not going to do business. The city's responsibility is to provide a comprehensive plan so that this area is attractive for these types of businesses.
Are they?
No.
Let me get back to what you said about, obviously, guns. You said this too. ShotSpotter is not a silver bullet and has been discontinued by many cities, by the way. Why not here in South Carolina?
Well, I lived in Washington, D.C., and on my block, one of the most entertaining things to do is shoot off fireworks. And fireworks are not permitted in D.C.
Right.
That messed ShotSpotter up to no degree. Bringing ShotSpotter into North Charleston, where people shoot off fireworks every day of the week, it's not going to work. So first of all, you've got to ban fireworks in North Charleston. The second problem, as Pastor Dixon pointed out, is we know where the high crime areas are. The police department knows where the high crime areas are. We know where the shots are coming from. We know what neighborhoods need community services. We know what neighborhoods need extra help. I don't think bringing in an expensive sonar system to tell us what we already know and help us address problems that we already know the root causes of is very helpful.
And let me get back over here, because you also posted this too. Obviously, you basically said this is a great map of the 8th district. When you drive around this district, that is, what else are you seeing, Gordon?
The 8th district has Park Circle, which is an architectural gem, and it's one of my favorite places in South Carolina. We've also got neighborhoods like Liberty Hill, which is historic in its own right, and it's one of the first freedmen's villages in the United States. There's not much left of it. A lot of it's been torn down. I would like to see some effort made to preserve what is left of Liberty Hill and to bring some recognition to it for the story that's behind that neighborhood. And I'd also like to talk about Charleston Farms, sure, because it's part of our district. It's where a lot of children are coming into Park Circle and breaking into people's cars, and we're beginning to create a lot of hostility between Charleston Farms and the rest of our district, and I don't think it's helpful at all. And one thing I would really like to accomplish, and I intend to accomplish as a city council person, is to fix that relationship and to let everybody know that lives in the 8th district that we're all neighbors and we're all doing the best we can, and that we're all going to move forward into 2030 and 2040 together.
Gordon Garrett, thank you so much for your time, and again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.